Hello everyone. In today's session, we are going to learn about the mechanical design of heat exchangers. Heat exchangers are an important part of any process plant, and typically you will find hundreds of them in a process plant. In this session, we are going to see the constructional features of heat exchangers. Essentially, they are pressure equipment, but because there is a heat transfer taking place between two media, you require two separate pressure chambers. There are different types of heat exchanger. In this session, we are going to look into what is known as shell and tube type heat exchangers. We'll see constructional features of the shell and tube type heat exchangers. And from design point of view, we will have a little discussion on the tube to tube sheet joint and the calculation procedure, a preliminary calculation procedure for thickness calculation of the tube sheet. And finally, we'll wind up with a numerical problem and a brief outline about how the baffle system for shell and tube type heat exchangers is designed. So let's proceed with our session. There are different types of heat exchangers. There are shell and tube type of heat exchangers, which is the focus of this session. Apart from that, there are other type of heat exchangers which provide certain advantages in certain situations. These are double pipe heat exchangers which provide very compact design for certain situations. Plate type of heat exchangers, again advantage in terms of size as well as ease of cleaning the exchangers, which is typically useful for industries such as food industries, and the spiral type heat exchangers. So that is yet another type of heat exchanger. A shell and tube type heat exchanger consists of essentially two chambers. One chamber which is known as tube side. So in the tube side fluid flows. The tube side means the fluid which passes inside the tube. So you have in the figure as shown here, the inlet is shown on the right hand side and the outlet is shown on the left hand side. So these are the tube side inlet and tube side outlet. The sections corresponding to tube side, they are called as channels. So that is a terminology used. So this is inlet channel, and the one corresponding to the outlet is known as outlet channel. The fluid from inlet channel flows to the outlet channel through inside of the tube. So there is a tube bundle which is essentially the part which does the function of heat transfer. The second fluid which is outside the tubes, it is termed as shell side or shell side fluid. So again you have shell side inlet which is on the left hand side in this figure, and shell side outlet which is on the right hand side of this figure. The fluid flows around the tubes, outside of the tubes. In order to make or in order to control the flow of the fluid, we provide what is known as baffles. So baffles are what you see here as a black lines. So these baffles regulate the flow. So as an example, the flow from inlet to outlet is made to travel in a particular direction so as to maximize the efficiency or effectiveness of the heat exchanger. So these are the essential parts of a heat exchanger. Apart from that, there are tube sheets. So this is also an important component. So there is a tube sheet. There is a tube sheet at the inlet and tube sheet at the outlet. So there are two tube sheets in case of straight tube exchangers, and in case of U tube exchanger there is just one tube sheet. So that is the basic anatomy of heat exchanger. The heat exchangers, apart from their construction, they can be also classified based on their service. So just to make you aware of the different terminologies, so they are essentially all of them heat exchangers, but depending on the service they have been given different names. A heat exchanger is a generic name which deals with a single phase fluid flowing on both the tube side as well as on the shell side. The cooler is a specific service in which one stream is a process fluid and other stream is a cooling. So it is having lower temperature than the process fluid and it serves the function of cooling the process fluid. It may be water or it may be air. Heater is opposite to that of the cooler. So here one stream is process fluid and other is heating utility such as steam. So steam is one of the most commonly used utility in a process plant. It is available in all plants and it can be used for heating purpose. Condenser and later on the boiler, both of them are examples of two-phase fluids. One of the fluid is two-phase. So one stream in case of condenser is a condensing vapor and the other stream as cooling water or air. So condenser is where some condensation is taking place. So there is a mixture of vapor and condensing liquid. So it's a two-phase mixture on one side and it could be more complex to handle from thermal design point of view. Of course, our focus in this particular discussion is only mechanical design. From mechanical design point of view also, these condensers as well as boilers provide special considerations because of the phase change which is occurring there. In boilers, one of the side, either shell side or tube sides, is a water and steam mixture. So water is getting boiled and steam is getting produced. And the other stream is a heating fluid. So it can be process gas or any other fluid which is flowing for boiling the water. So heat exchangers can be classified as per their service as shown here. The design codes which are used for design of heat exchangers is again ASME boiler and pressure vessel code or BPVC. The most commonly used code for heat exchangers is division ASME section 8 division 1, or for high pressure conditions you can use ASME section 8 division 2 for the design of uh, the exchanger. Here you have to remember that the design code for shell side and tube side could be different. So the design code, two design codes are there in any heat exchangers. The one code is for shell side and the other one is for tube side. So both these codes can be same or they can be different. Another important code or standard which is used for design of heat exchangers is TIMA. So TIMA is Tubular Exchanger Manufacturers Association, and this gives various regulations and directives as well as design formulae which are uh, specially developed for heat exchanger design. So they are contributed for, as the name suggests, the manufacturers have an important role in defining these standards so as to standardize the manufacturing as well as design of the heat exchangers. Let's have a look at major parts of an heat exchanger and let's understand the terminology which is used for defining the heat exchangers. So as I mentioned earlier, you have the channel side which connects to the inside of the tubes. So there is an inlet channel and there is an outlet channel, and in between you have the shell which is surrounding the tube bundle. From the channel side you have the items 1, 2 and 3 which covers the channel cover number 1. Number 2 is the body of channel which is a cylindrical section which leads to the tube bundle, and number 3 is the channel flange which connects to the tube bundle. Depending on the design of the tube sheet, the heat exchanger may have what is known as partition plate. So this partition plate which is shown by number 4 here, it separates the inlet fluid and outlet fluid if both are made to pass through the same channel. The next important part is the tube sheet, the number 5. So tube sheets are of different types. So stationary tube sheets are the one which are uh, we will be discussing more in this particular session, or they are the more common. And in this particular figure, what you see is on the other side, you have what is known as a floating tube sheet. So this type of design is used where the thermal expansion of the tube bundle necessitates that the tube sheet should be allowed to have movement. So in this case, these floating tube sheets are used. In many of the heat exchangers, commonly you will find both sides stationary tube sheets or tube sheets which are fixed to the either side channels and shells. Then you have the shell flange, that is the beginning of the shell side which surrounds the tube bundle. So the sixth number is the shell flange, and inside the shell is number 8. So number 8 is the cylindrical enclosure which surrounds the entire tube bundle. The tube bundle assembly consists of the tubes. So tubes are number 7. These tubes are connected to the both tube sheets if it is a straight tube exchanger, as in this case. So you have the two tube sheets and the tube connects both of the tube sheets. In order to support these tubes, because there are a number of tubes, some of the big exchangers may have as many as thousands of tubes. So in order to support these tubes, you require some support components. So these are known as baffles. They serve two purposes. So in this case, the component number 9 is known as baffle. They serve two purposes. One, they support the tube bundle. So all the tubes are supported by these baffles. And also they regulate the shell side fluid flow inside the exchanger in order to increase the effectiveness of heat transfer. And there are other components because this is a special or a floating tube sheet type of design. There are other components which we need not discuss at this particular point. Typically, the outlet channel will have a similar construction as that of the inlet channel as shown in this particular figure. So takeaway from this slide is that you have to remember that the main components which differentiate the heat exchanger from a regular pressure vessel is the tube bundle, and the tube bundle consists of tube sheets to which the number of tubes are attached to each other. This number could be very large, and in order to support this number of tubes, there are structural members which are known as baffles, and these baffles provide two functions. They do two functions. One is to support the tubes and the second is to regulate the fluid flow outside the tubes.